Hi everyone! Rox here, and today on Rox Cooking Journal, let's make cinnamon rolls. These are soft, moist, more detailed swirl, and delicious cream cheese frosting. So let's get started! First, painitan lang natin yung 3/4 cup of milk in medium heat. Scald lang natin siya or until just below its boiling point. So kapag nag-start na siya mag-bubble sa gilid ng pan, sandali na lang yan. Maybe about a minute more. Then, i-turn off na natin yung heat. Bawasan muna natin to ng 1/4 cup. At i-transfer natin sa mixing bowl. Then, add in 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour at i-whisk natin. Kapag na-dissolve na yung flour, let's turn this on to medium heat. And continue to mix this until it turns to a thick paste. This process helps to keep your dough moist. Ito yung consistency na hinahanap natin. I-transfer na rin natin to sa mixing bowl na pinaglagyan ng hot milk kanina. Then add in 4 tablespoons of softened butter. Haluin lang natin hanggang matunaw. Now add 3 tablespoons of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, and a pinch of nutmeg. Mainit pa yung mixture because of the hot milk and paste. So we will add 1/4 cup of ice cold water and 2 cold eggs from the fridge. Now that the mixture is at room temperature, let's add 2 teaspoons of instant dry yeast. I-mix lang natin until everything is well combined. Cover this with plastic wrap and let it rest at room temperature for about 5 to 10 minutes or until magbubbles yung surface nito. Now, ilagay na natin yung natirang 3 cups of flour. I-mix natin with a spatula or wooden spoon until ma-absorb ng flour yung liquid mixture. Once the dough comes together, ilipat na natin sa pastry mat. We will need this for about 15 minutes. Kung masyadong sticky yung dough, you may dust it with a little bit of flour. But don't be tempted to add too much kasi magdadry naman siya. We're done kneading kapag smooth na at di na siya naninikit sa kamay. And it also springs back once you press it with your fingers. Ilalagay ko na siya sa grease bowl and cover this with a plastic wrap. We will let this rise at room temperature for about 30 to 60 minutes. Then we will let this chill and rest in the fridge overnight. This will also improve the flavor and the texture of your dough. Good morning! So we are on our day 2. Bago ko ilabas yung dough sa fridge, gumawa muna tayo ng cinnamon filling. Pagsamahin lang natin yung 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon, half a cup of brown sugar, and half a cup of crushed graham crackers. I-mix lang muna natin. The addition of crushed graham crackers here will give our cinnamon rolls a more detailed swirl and of course an added flavor. Ilagay na natin yung melted butter. Imimix lang natin to until well combined. Iset aside muna natin. Ito na yung dough na chinil natin overnight. Nag-double na yung size niya. Dust natin yung work surface with flour, yung rolling pin, at yung dough. Then i-press natin to release air bubbles. So, stretch ko na siya and start to form this dough into a rectangular shape. Mas madali siyang i-handle kapag malamig siya. Pantayin din natin yung edges. Now, i-roll na natin yung dough. Laging sa gitna magsa-start mag-roll para magpapantay siya. I-roll ko lang siya until it's about 1/4 of an inch thin while maintaining its rectangular shape. So, even if you're rolling upward, downward, or any part of the dough, sa gitna magsa-start mag-roll para magpapantay yung thickness niya. Next, mag-spread na tayo ng filling. Gagamitin ko lang pang spread dito yung offset spatula. I-roll na natin yung dough simula sa lower side nito papunta sa kabilang dulo. And make a tight roll as you go. Just continue to roll until the dough is all rolled up. Kung may part na mas thicker, you can stretch it out lightly hanggang magpantay yung thickness niya. You can use a serrated knife to cut this. But if you want to stay it in perfect shape, pwede kayong gumamit ng dental floss, yung unflavored, o kaya naman twine gaya nito. Mamarkahan ko lang muna bago natin i-cut. Lift mo lang yung dough. Then, iligay mo sa ilalim yung twine and bring the ends together and cut. So, here's my baking pan na pinahiran ko ng butter. Ilagay na natin dito yung cinnamon rolls and cover it with foil. We will let this rise for 30 minutes. Ayan, nag-rise na. And if you notice, dikit-dikit na siya. Mag-bake na tayo in a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes with the foil covering the pan to trap the moisture. And another 15 to 20 minutes uncovered. Here's our baked cinnamon rolls. We will let this cool down a bit habang ginagawa natin yung cream cheese frosting. Pagsamahin natin sa mixing bowl yung 4 tablespoons of softened butter with 100 grams of cream cheese. I-beat natin with an electric hand mixer until smooth. Next, whisk in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now add half a cup of powdered sugar and continue beating until it's nice and smooth. Tingnan nyo, kitang-kita yung feeling niya because of the additions of the crushed graham crackers. Lagyan na natin ng frosting sa ibabaw. Ang lambot niya. Ang bango. At ang sarap niya. Nag-caramelize din yung feeling niya. Mag-e-enjoy ka talaga dito after the last beat. Ang maganda talaga sa homemade, hindi tinipid sa ingredients. Sana masubukan nyo rin gumawa nito. Thanks for watching and see you in my next cooking journal.